All right. As I always say, if this is working the way it's supposed to, we are live. So, hello and welcome to everyone watching the Written in Melanin channel. Wherever this day may have found you, I'm so glad that you are here. I am CM Lockhart, better known as Chelsea, and I am here with the one, the only Amanda Ross, and we are here to entertain you today. Are we? I think that's what we're doing.
I mean, you're putting on a British accent, so we must be here for entertainment.
I'm
Like
sorry.
you putting on airs over there.
I'm just like, what are we supposed to be doing? Because normally I have like the intro living in my head for the Melanin chat and for like when I do the podcast and stuff. But I'm like, wait a second, that's not the intro for this. What are we here to do? That's a good question. So, anyway, um, we are here to discuss a lot of things, and I did remember to share this out, I think, but I'm going to.
You tweeted it, but you know, one can always share again. I just shared in my stories right before this on Instagram.
I suck at Instagram, and since you've got that covered, I'm just gonna let that be your realm. Me and Instagram have a really like a hate relationship. I don't like it. It doesn't like me, but we have to get along sometimes.
I'm finding that I'm liking it less and less lately. I'm more shifting towards like TikTok and Twitter, just spending more time on those apps.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I think it's just my engagement is down, even though I'm not really doing anything differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying the same shit.
I mean, I don't like Instagram because it requires a video and or not a video, an image, and you have to be like it has to be like your best image, and it's got to be like curated, and I don't put that much effort into taking pictures, either real pictures or creating them. Like if it takes more than 10 minutes, I am no longer invested. But I like TikTok because TikTok, uh I saw a video actually of someone explaining why they like TikTok more, and I said that this wasn't going to bother me, but I swear it does. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was that. I need to turn the volume down on my mic. Woo! Problem solved. Okay. But no, I was watching a TikTok and it was basically like she was talking about how like these big Instagrammers were trying to move over to TikTok, and she was like, yeah, they're not successful because basically TikTok rewards authenticity, whereas Instagram rewards, the best editor or who can curate their feed the best. And the algorithm just works different. And so she was being funny about it. She was like, she's never had pretty privilege, so she's had to have a good personality, and that's rewarded on TikTok. Whereas Instagram rewards pretty privilege. Like if you're pretty, you could just take a selfie and you'll get a million likes. Because if you think about it, there are a lot of people who are not entertaining or interesting in the least on Instagram, but they have like the largest followings because they're skinny or they have really clear skin or they've got the
they
good visually pleasing proportions.
yeah, they have a or they yeah, they have a good curated feed. If they don't show themselves, their feed is curated to where like they have the aesthetics. And I am personally not gonna drive my ass to Michael's or to the Dollar Tree or hop on Amazon to get stuff just to post photos. Like I post photos on wood floor. I have this really colorful rainbow carpet here that I'll post, or my dresser is just white. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, this is like a blank background for an image. And I've done it on this leather chair before. I'm like, well, it's a black leather chair. It's horror shit. Cool. I don't put more thought to it than that of like what type of book it is, where should it go, you know?
And see, all of that already way over it, not into it. I don't. That's why I'm very particular. I never really referred to myself as a bookstagrammer because I'm like I'm not taking pictures of books because that implies that you have to have the physical book either paid for or from a library. I don't leave my house that much, okay? So that's not a good look. And then also it's just like trying to keep up with it. I'm just nah, bruh. nah, that's not me. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm about. I like TikTok. I'm gonna tell you what I have to say, or I'm gonna ask a question, and then I'm gonna move on. I could throw a filter on it, but like even if it takes me an hour to make a TikTok, I don't mind because I'm actually doing something and I can see the results of it. Versus if it takes me an hour to put together an Instagram post, the reality of it is that TikTok that I put together is going to get way more engagement because people are actually going to look at it and interact with it than an Instagram post. Because if you are not doing it, also RC Scott is here. Hello, welcome. And what was I saying? But yeah, but Instagram, I feel like it falls into the void so often. Like there are so many
Mm-hmm.
people posting, and it's just like you have to have all the hashtags, and it's just nah, that just don't work for me.
Well, I think that's also the difference is that with Instagram, you're encouraged to use a fuck ton of hashtags. And with TikTok, your caption can only be, very similar to what Twitter was, which is like initially, I think it was 150, 140 characters or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, in addition to your video or whatever content, it forces you to be succinct in your caption. Whereas Instagram, I think, rewards a longer caption and more hashtags. But the problem with all of these hashtags that I have noticed is it's really hard to even land on the recent page
Mm-hmm.
with the hashtags and then also on the like top. And if your photo isn't landing there, you're not getting new accounts. So then the people looking at your photos are people who are already following you, and if they're already seeing the same thing you're posting, right? Like say you post every Wednesday for a one line Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
eventually they're going to tune it out cuz okay, whatever.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that can harm authors who are trying to promote their book. Um, and now they're rolling out reels and trying to do that to copy TikTok. But I saw this video from this guy the other day that was talking about the problem with Facebook and by extension Instagram. And it's that Facebook does not care about its users, obviously, but it doesn't care about its users in that instead of creating something new, it
mm-hmm.
basically mimics other platforms'
Mm-hmm.
popular features
Yeah,
and brings them to its apps. So then everything becomes super bloated because there's so much you can do. Whereas with TikTok, it's like it's a video. You can do 15, 60, 3 minutes.
that's it.
Now there you can repost, but like there's not much more you can do beyond that.
And I like that it's simple. I like that it's one thing. And I don't like Facebook because Facebook just gives me bad vibes, like all the way around. And also because I read an article where it's just like Facebook rewards you for being upset. So the algorithm intentionally shows you things that you are going to dislike and make you unhappy because it's proven that that's going to get more interaction, more views, whatever, keep you on the platform longer if they show you things that you don't like. And I'm like, you know what? The fact that you want me to be unhappy, despite the fact that I'm curating my feed, nah, bruh, that's not for me. And even Instagram, to an extension of that, like, I would not have it if it was not for business. And even then, now, I don't use it. I'm inconsistent as all get out. I only post when I absolutely have to. Or if, like, we're doing something like, we're doing the Black Fiction talk on Saturday with Charlie, and she's on Instagram. And that I'll use it for that, or if I'm going to
Right.
make that one post about my book that you're going to see, and it's just going to live there, and it's just going, like, I post so inconsistently. It's just like I tell people, like, I have an Instagram, but if you really want to engage with me, you should follow me on TikTok or Twitter, because I am not, if you send me a DM on Instagram, it's going to take me like a week to even see it, and then like another week to work up my courage to open up the app, to get on it, to look at it and respond to you, just to basically be like, can you message me on Twitter? That makes me feel a little bit better. Because
Yeah.
I don't trust Facebook. Like, there are so many breaches, so many issues, so many things that have gone wrong with it. It's just nah. And when Instagram was like, "Oh, you want to be a business account? You need to make a Facebook page." Bro, why? I'm not trying to use Facebook. That's stupid. I don't care if you own it. Like, and then you
Yeah,
have
it
all
was
these
really
dead
dumb.
accounts, and you're like, "Why is nobody using it?" Because you made me get one. I didn't want one.
Well, yeah, I mean, in that video that I was talking to you about Facebook, is that I think it was like they've recently lost a billion. I have to find the video, or maybe it's still floating on TikTok. again, I saw it on TikTok, so I'm getting my information now from TikTok. But basically, I was saying that they recently lost billions of dollars or whatever it was, and that's going to continue to happen. People are leaving the accounts and not,
Yeah.
paying as much attention. And he's basically saying that his prediction is that Facebook is going the way of MySpace now, where he was like, remember when we all just woke up and decided not to use MySpace anymore? I think that's what's going to happen with Facebook and Instagram very soon,
But if
because
oh, sorry.
people just stopped using it. I remember that.
Yeah, and it's just like what like every social media platform has a lifespan. And it's just like when Facebook was big, it was like that was one thing. But here's the thing, like everything else, if you aren't getting new people to sign up for it, then it's going to die. Also, Portia's here. Hey Portia, how you doing? Welcome. Um for those of you just joining us, we're talking about social media because reasons. I forgot how we got on this topic. Um but yeah, like if you don't sign up, if you don't have people signing up for it and you're not offering things that people actually want, then there is no point. Like Facebook, when it first started, was for like long form discussion. It was basically like a forum or a chat or whatever. Like you followed people that you actually knew in real life and you engaged with them. So it was actually that connective tissue or whatever. Luthaza is here. Hello, welcome, friend. Um, but it got so far away from that, and that's part, and I feel like in today's society it's not about connecting with people you actually know, it's about connecting with people you haven't met yet. And
Right.
Facebook is not really good with that because Facebook had your whole life, and I still don't like it because I feel like that's what Facebook wants from you. They want your whole life, like where you went to school, where you graduated from, when you graduated, who you married to, who your mama is. Nah, bruh, you don't need all that. You need like 6 baby pictures just to get a profile to confirm that you're human. If you get locked out, there's nobody to contact. That you just have to wait for their algorithm and their AI machine to get back with you. And it's just like, nah, right? You want too much. You want too much from my
Yeah.
life. But
I will say, um, if not for Facebook, I wouldn't have met a lot of my other friends, if not for Facebook and Instagram and all that.
mhm.
So it has served its purpose, and I do co-run a Facebook group, Diverse Books with Magic, and that's fun. I think the writing groups on Facebook are kind of what keeps me
Connected to it.
checking it at least once a day. I mean, because I'm mod this group, so I have to kind of check.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I don't do anything. I don't talk to people really. I share things here and there. My siblings are active on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, you're showing your age, mama. But because they don't be using any other social app. My brother just scrolls TikTok just to look at chicks, so I'm like, no, you don't
and,
know.
and see, I had a Facebook when it was really big back in high school, but it got so toxic for my mental health. I was like, nah, bruh, we're not doing this for it. And I just went cold turkey. And um, then when I decided to create written in Melanin in the Melanin Library, I wanted to have a business account so I could have access to my analytics and stuff. And they were like, oh, if you want a business account, you have to connect it to a Facebook page. And I was like, I don't have a Facebook account anymore. So then I tried to go recreate my account, and bruh, that was so many hurdles. It took me like 3 weeks to recreate an account because I was trying to just use my name again, my name and my face, and they're like, oh, this is stolen. This person deleted their account, yada yada. I'm like, no, it's me. It's me. Like, please stop. And so now,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I have to deal with Facebook, I don't like it because if I have to sign in, and it's just like, first of all, I'm like, they're like, oh, you're signing in from a different IP address. Is this you? Like, it's still me. I moved across country. Please don't lock me out of this account because it has all of my Instagram accounts connected to it. So if you get locked out of your Facebook page, you're also locked out of your Instagram accounts, and that is also a pain and a half. So that's why I'm like,
Right.
if you need me, do not contact me via Instagram, Facebook, nothing that they own. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't use Messenger. I don't use, if it's connected to Facebook, I really, really don't like it, don't want to use it. So TikTok or Twitter or something that's not owned by Mark Zuckerberg. Because as Luthaza said, Facebook is dying out also because of Mark Z's politics. He's a horrible person. I mean, if you
That
saw the
part.
social network, there's really no way to think that he's a decent person. Truly. And Meta Facebook wants your whole life, including a ridiculous amount of your time. A chat I talked about how in order for your posts on IG to do better, you have to be on there 30 minutes before and after. Yeah, and people are leaving both apps in part because they see Mark Zuckerberg's screen. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the other thing that I don't like about Instagram, because you can't just post and go on about your day. You have to, like you say, you have to, the algorithm has to, you have to quote unquote wake it up. And you have to actually be scrolling and going through and searching, because you can't just like double tap for like 2 minutes before you post. The algorithm won't work for you. You have to actually be on the platform, and then you have to actually stay on the platform after you're done. And baby doll, I ain't got time to be giving nobody an hour or two of my life when I don't even want to be on the platform. Because here's the thing, you shouldn't be forcing people to have to use your platform in order to be successful on it. That's why I like TikTok. TikTok, you can post a video going about the rest of your day and come back to it at the end of the night when you're ready to scroll before you go to bed, or the next day in the morning, or whenever you're going on about your life. And that does not affect the algorithm at all, because they trust that you're going to come back. You're going to scroll. You're going to fall down that rabbit hole at some
Right.
point.
Right. And I think that, yeah, I think with TikTok the only thing is that you can't host and ghost, purely like post and then never be on the app at all for the rest of the day or a couple of days. Like that doesn't necessarily, your video will still get traction, but it doesn't necessarily work to do that. Whereas Instagram, yeah, you post and then you leave. You five people are liking your stuff and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is frustrating, but I think it's good that we do have this other platform with TikTok, because yeah, it does reward authenticity, and I think that that's the issue that a lot of authors were having when they first joined TikTok. Because I still know a lot of authors who don't do TikTok, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, I just don't get it. I don't feel like I have anything to say. How do I promote my books? Because
And
I usually am used to taking pictures, and now I need to do this and da da da.
But I see that's the thing about TikTok that personally I like. It's not an advertisement platform. It's really not. It is a
Yeah.
connection. It's what I personally, in my grand old age of late 20s, feel like a social media platform should actually be, where it's
Don't
about you connecting to people.
please don't say old age. I'm older than you, Chelsea. Please
Look,
don't do me
these
like
these
that.
these littles on TikTok need to calm down, because I'm like, bruh, like I understand that you're in the hype of your life and you just realize that you're about to be an adult and you have autonomy, but like we've been doing the social media thing way longer than you. Chill out. Chill out. No need to be rude. No need to be rude
Right.
on this clock app, okay?
Well, that's the thing, is that all social media is a connection tool. It's just people, when you have a business, you tend to think that you all you can do is promote,
Yeah.
like that's what you're supposed to do, but you're not. You That's not what you do.
Oh yeah,
You're not supposed to do
there, and I feel like, but I feel like it's shifted. So Instagram, I feel like in the beginning was about connecting, because it was about posting pictures of your life and following people that you know and interacting with them and commenting on their photos, and it was supposed to be a moment or an instant in a moment or whatever, like that's why initially their logo was an actual Polaroid, because it was just like it's to capture a moment, and share them with other people. But it got so far away from that, and it got to the point where it was just like the advice was literally do not take actual pictures unless they're curated and you've got the lighting and you've got it set up and you're taking, this is your best photo. It wasn't about authentic moments anymore. It was about the best moment and living your best life and putting on this charade, and that turns into marketing. It's no longer about connecting with people. It's about pretending to connect with people in order to get them to follow you to buy a product. Whereas TikTok, I feel like I'm not trying to sell a product to anybody. I feel like it's a community in the sense of actually connecting with authors and readers and people who actually care about you, because they see you and they're interacting with you. And like when your videos come across their page, they're like, oh, I actually know you, because you're actually having to put yourself out there, versus like when you curate videos that don't have your face in it or don't have you talking or an original sound or anything like that, a lot of times those don't do as well, because people don't feel that connection. They just keep swiping. They're just like, oh, this is just marketing, you know. So
Right.
I have my opinions, but
No, I
also,
agree, and I think that the other thing about it is that it forces authors to use a skill that I don't think that they realize they need. and I will be doing a video about this. So if you want to hear more, subscribe to my channel, Amanda the Author with G's, which is that you need to learn as an author how to interview. Like you need to get the training, take a class, do a Skillshare, watch some YouTube videos, and how to do an interview.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know so many authors who are like, I don't know how to talk about my book. I don't know how to pitch my book verbally. I can do it with words. I can make a goofy video on Instagram where you're using a trending sound, or I can make aesthetics or whatever. But if you can't sit down person to person or in a 2 minute video, 60 seconds, and just talk about what is your book about, 3 sentences,
Mm-hmm.
then I think that you're missing out on that other component, because we are going the way of video, and if you can't keep up with video, then I think you gotta like mine and figure out and grow that skill set to be able to keep up with the authors who are killing it on TikTok. Keep up with Jessica Cage, who is killing it on TikTok,
Yeah.
and who she's making a whole fucking book series from TikTok videos. Like you got to keep up with her, you know?
Oh yeah, and also keep in mind that everything takes work. So it's kind of like me and Ben talk about this all the time. But like when you look at YouTube and you see these really big YouTubers who are massively successful, they did not start last year or 2 years ago or even 5 years ago. A lot of them have been doing YouTube for like a decade since it was an
Right.
infant little thing. And I feel like that's the other thing that's overlooked with these social media platforms is that a lot of these big people in the who you have to look at were in it from the very beginning. And it takes time to build an audience. And it's just kind of like, for me and my mindset, I'm not saying that you have to be the first person on the train, but I am saying that once you realize that the train is moving, it might be a good idea to get on board sooner than later, because you can also be the
Right.
first person to get off when you feel like it's no longer working for you, because technically the Instagram train is still going, but it's no longer working for me, so I'm getting off. Like they're just it's that's just the way it is. Like, but I think for authors, we have to get out of our bubble, and that's the really hard part. Also, Eva is here. She said, "I'd love to stop using socials," and she doesn't use TikTok. And I will say this: TikTok is not for everyone, and I fully
Right.
understand that. It is one of those things where I created an account. I have 3 accounts. I only post on 2 of them, but I just didn't want anyone to take my handles in case I ever changed my mind, so that I have consistent handles across all platforms. I'm C Lockhart Right on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and pretty much every social media platform. Same thing with Written in Melanin, and same thing with Melanin Library. They're all spelled exactly the same way, even though like the underscore came because somebody on Instagram has just at Melanin Library. They don't post anything. It's but there's that's why the underscore is there between is Melanin underscore library, because somebody else had the handle and it was available on Twitter, but I was like, I don't want to mess them up. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But anyway, point is, it's the same. And Luthaza pointed out, TikTok is very anti-black, and I can't overlook that, and it is. But my thing is, every social media app is anti-black, so that's just what it is. It's just something that we have to deal with. Unfortunately, until people start actually looking at the algorithm and why it is this way and why it's suppressing certain videos and targeting certain
Right.
videos until they want to fix the root of the problem, which they're not, because it's doing exactly what they want it to do, then it's not going to change. But can't not use socials if you want to be successful selling your book or being an author in a lot of ways, because it's just like the world is so big. Like, it can definitely be done. People were successful way before the internet, but I feel like when people say that, they're also missing the factor of, before the internet existed, there was no other way to be successful than other than in real life. But now that it
Right.
does, it's like most people, the things that worked in real life before don't necessarily work anymore because of the internet. Like, even when you think about selling books, is like a lot of times people will send, like, have a business card with a QR code on it versus having an actual book in their trunk that they can go sell you, you know? So it's shifting. It's shifting. And
Hmm.
there's another one. Eva said, I don't want to download the app, is why I don't use TikTok. I'll click links to see the clips. I don't know. I felt that way at first too. I don't know. I fell in love with TikTok once I actually started using it, mostly because of the community. Because most of my beta readers have come from TikTok. Like there are a couple of people that I reached out to individually, but most of them came from TikTok, and they were just like, "Hey, I saw. I would like to help you out." Even with like promoting some of my stuff, people will stitch my videos and be like, "Hey, new book coming out. Have you seen this cover?" And it's just like that's really cool, and it just grew from people who interacted with me. I interacted with them. So, and I don't
Right.
get that a whole lot on Instagram or even Twitter, you know?
Yeah,
So,
I do think on Instagram people are less likely to share and promote other people's stuff just for the fuck of it, just because like this is cool. I want to help this author out. I shared in my stories a lot the authors that I am cool with and in this little sphere, and I've had them some of them ask, "Can you share this?" And that's cool, but it's really really rare for an author that I don't know to just randomly share my stuff. Whereas, yeah, on TikTok I've had people like stitch and be like, this looks really cool, or this book looks really great, or I'll leave a comment and then they stitch it and they're like, this is a great point, blah blah blah, which then helps you get your face out there because
mm-hmm.
people will click on the original video, or at
Yep.
least I do, and watch the full video
Oh
from
yeah.
what the stitch was.
And that's why I said I feel like it's a lot of community, because in order to be successful on TikTok, you have to engage with other people on TikTok. You can't be in your own little bubble. Whereas Instagram, you can 100% be in your own little bubble and just expect people to follow you without you actually interacting or engaging with them, which is weird. And I also feel like on Instagram, there's like this monetary aspect of it. Like if I promote you and it does really well, then it's just like that doesn't help me at all because this isn't my content, you know. But it's
Right.
just Instagram is toxic. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it at that. Even said social media is all just marketing, isn't it? I would say no. I was because like even like this, you know, I don't know you. I've never met you in person, Eva, but I feel like I know you because we've talked so much, not only on my stream but in other people's streams, and that's not marketing. That's just us knowing each other and interacting with each other, you know. And I feel like social media is the same way. Like you have to interact with people. Like definitely marketing is a big part of it for a lot of people, but the thing is, if I'm the type of person where I'm going to curate my feed. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. So, especially on Twitter and especially on Instagram. So, if I follow someone and all I see is my book, my book, my book, my book, my book, my friend's book, my book, my book, my book, my book, purchase, 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 I am either going to unfollow you or mute you. And I'm not going to look at that because it's just like, I personally, like, how do I say this nicely? As an adult, I know when I'm going to spend money on something and I know when I'm not going to spend money on something. And you telling me every 5 minutes to spend money on something is just going to make me stop wanting to see your content because you're not
Right.
posting anything else. You're not allowing me to interact with you. You're not telling me about the book. You're not telling me about who you are because sometimes, even if I'm not going to read the book, if I know you as a person and I want to support you as a person, I'll still buy the book. Probably won't read it, but that's okay because if I'm supporting you as a person, I'm okay with that. But if I don't know you as a person and I wasn't going to buy your book anyway, and all you're doing is telling me to buy the book, I don't care.
Right. So interjecting my marketing and degree in 10 plus years of marketing as
Yes,
a
yes, listen to her.
professional here.
Don't listen to me. I don't know nothing.
So social media is supposed to be a connection tool. It is not supposed to be a sales tool. Businesses do use it for sales, distributing information, but ideally you don't want social to be where you're doing your sales because number one, like Chelsea said, most people know how they're going to spend their money. So unless you're doing some kind of paid ad, or unless you're a big name author, people are just going to keep scrolling past your stuff. The other thing is, if social media were to stop completely tomorrow, if you rely on social media as your sales tool, you're kind of fucked because you don't have control over your ability to have an account. You know, Mark Mark Zuckerberg could just decide, hey, I don't like you, and delete your account. And then if all you're using is Instagram, there goes your account. So you should be using other things like email marketing as where you are doing your sales because that list is yours and yours alone. Additionally, if you're looking at a marketing sales funnel, which is like this, social media is at the very top of funnel where you're moving people down from social media down to the funnel, down to the lower funnel stuff, which is your email, which then goes to purchasing. I'm going to do a whole video about the marketing funnel too. So
I love how you
just
smile. You're
FYI.
like, I'm gonna do a whole video about it, you guys.
I will, because I've been doing marketing for 10 years. I worked at Twitter for a while, so like I got this. But I think what it has, social media has become salesy because we have all been told you have to use social to sell, but people, it's really difficult to find that balance between promotion and connection posts because people will think, well, my connection posts don't do well, but my promotion posts do, so I'm going to just keep promoting. But it's like your connection posts don't do well because maybe you're not asking the right questions.
I will say
Maybe
that.
you're not meeting your audience in the way that they need to be met. And so I think a good mix is maybe 70-30. So for every 70% of your posts are connection, education, fun posts, 30% are promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Just your promotion. In that 70 mix, you can add in promoting other people if you want, cheerleading on other authors, but really you should only be doing, you know, 2 to 3 posts a week. If you're posting 7 days, 2 to 3 posts a week of pure promo, and the rest should be entertainment, education, connection
And look at
posts.
her coming through with the actual stats. I'm gonna tell you guys, I don't post that regularly, but I know for me, just like as a consumer, if I don't. I prefer when people are authentic, and I have seen that for myself. When I'm authentic, those posts do better as far as like a connection piece. So like being honest about your writing process, and not like, oh, this is what I'm doing, but like being honest and like, okay, this is actually kind of difficult, you guys, or or I'm struggling with this. So it's like, I'm not out here alone, and also not trying to put on this facade of, oh, I'm the perfect writer. You should just listen and follow me because I have all the answers to all the answers in the world. It's just like that. Nah, bruh, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna fly.
Right.
And just being honest and relatable, I found has been more successful than trying to put forth something that I feel comfortable being vulnerable about, if that makes sense. Like picking a piece of something and to put out there and expecting people to resonate with it when it's not something that you're actually struggling with. You're like, or if you're like, ooh, I know that people struggle with, character development. If that's not something that you actually struggle with, there's no point trying to put it out in the universe as something that you do
Mm-hmm.
in order to make
Yeah.
yourself look good.
Or yeah, I mean, or if you like, if you know that you have some tips on character development, maybe put the tips out there. But yeah, don't say you struggle with something if you don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask, hey, like yesterday I posted a video about cover reveals and I was like, I don't really know what's the best timing for putting out a cover reveal. Do you put it out, 2, 3 months out? Do you do this? I'm gonna have a cover coming out soon and I'm trying to figure out when to post it. That like people go, oh, you're gonna have a cover coming out soon, but also I might know, or people commented on the post just to be like, oh, I'm commenting so I can follow because I want to know this information too.
Yep.
And then last night my computer crashed, so I posted a second video and was like, today was shit, and my fucking computer crashed as I was editing my video, so I have to start it all over. Just say, send me good vibes, because this sucks.
Absolutely.
Like that authenticity of everybody has those moments where you're just like, I'm gonna go lay down.
It's like I tried. I tried. And I think that's why I like TikTok because like I had a good day because when we did the panel, if you guys missed it on Saturday, Amanda and I did Sunday, we did a
Sunday.
panel for Virtuous Con. And I actually did my makeup for that. And it was the first time this year that I've actually put on a full face of makeup, and it was fun. But literally, I was able to just like because I was in a good mood, I was able to record a TikTok, and I was just like, I don't want nothing, you guys. I just did my makeup today, so look at me. And it's just like people are like nice, and they're like, thank you for sharing. And I just that authentic piece is what I like, and it's yeah, yeah. Anyway, to the comments. Uh, Eva said, I started an author slash LLC pages on Instagram, but I don't carry my phone around or use it often enough that socials don't seem like a way to grow a toxic habit for me personally. That's good. I would recommend keeping it that way. Let business be for business. And if you're not into socials, I would not recommend it. I would not recommend getting into it, getting sucked into it, because it can be all consuming and then you have to put up boundaries. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I don't have any drafts done so far. It doesn't matter for selling things. You know, also makes sense. Also makes sense. Portia said, I feel like Instagram makes authors feel like the only thing they can post about is their book, and Twitter makes authors feel like they need to only talk to the writing community. I would say yes and no. I feel like Instagram, you have to find a way to straddle both the author side of Instagram and the book side of Instagram, because you want the author side to connect with people, but you also need the book side so that they see your book and get interested in it, and you can form connections with them before you need to ask them for a favor to like read your book or promote it. So
Right.
Instagram is really weird, but Twitter, I feel like personally, me, I just like talking to the writing side of Twitter because I feel like they have more sense than some of the other sides of Twitter. Because
But let me tell you, when there is drama on book Twitter or writing Twitter, book Twitter and writing Twitter, the drama is
it's it's very polarizing. Either it's great or it's so toxic, and yeah. But that comes with that authentic piece. I feel like a lot of issues come with people not being authentic or just being loud and wrong and doubling down on it when somebody points it out to them. I feel like there's a way to navigate the internet, and it's so weird because I feel like because most of us grew up in that weird age of your parents telling you don't tell anybody who you are on the internet, into this new phase of put your entire life on the internet. There's like
right.
this middle ground where it's just like, hey, here's how to actually be safe on the internet. And I feel like a lot of people are missing that in this day and age. And it's just kind of like, bruh, maybe not. Like, you don't have to put everything on the internet. Like, you can just keep that to yourself. You know that, right? Just
Right.
throw that out
I
there.
mean, I think if you're wanting to grow on social media, one of the best things to do is just to look at other authors that you feel that have a pretty good following and kind of see what they are doing, and not copy it, but just kind of see like how their mix, their marketing mix is, are how often are they promoting their books? How often are they doing goofy shit? How often are they being authentic? Hey, here's my day, here's my process, blah blah blah. How often are they talking about things that have nothing to do with writing? Because there are a couple authors that will do that. They talk about their interests, other books, movies, whatever. I mean, when Encanto came out, every single author I know was talking about Encanto. So
Not I. I haven't seen
and
it.
then I follow, maybe not no, but that I follow is talking about Encanto. So I think it's also that we're at this point now where it's like people are more wanting to present their whole self
Mm-hmm.
and their whole interests instead of going, I'm an author, so I'm only gonna that whole niching down thing that works on YouTube doesn't work. That's what it is. Niching down does not work on every platform. Yes,
Yeah.
you should niche down on YouTube, and if you're author tuber, stay in the author tuber lane, but not on other social platforms because it's about being a whole person.
Oh yeah, and I think I will add to that. Also, have fun. So if you don't like what you're doing, you're probably not doing what's going to work for you. And I would also say like have a niche, but don't be locked into it. So
Right.
be confident in being a part of like the writing community on Twitter, but don't be like, oh, because I'm part of the writing community, I can't also be part of like the cat picture part. Like, no, if you like cat pictures, go for it. Be happy, thrive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just don't get so lost in the mix of it that it stops being fun, or you're like, oh, I every time I come on my feed, all I see are cat pictures and sometimes iguana pictures. I don't know how I got here. you know. Also, Deja is here. Hello, welcome. How you doing?
Hey.
Um, but yeah, I feel like we've spent this whole time talking about social media.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's shift to talking about. other shit.
um, so obviously, you guys can tell from the title of the stream that this is going to be our last stream for a while. Um, Amanda and I are still friends. The reason that
Yeah.
the stream is ending.
Oh, I didn't even think that people would think that we're having a feud.
Yes.
Oh,
You never
no.
know. We're still friends. We're still good, you guys.
Yes.
But she has real life happening. So instead of doing the stream at what 1 o'clock on on a Thursday, we're gonna put the brakes on that. And I don't think it'll be the last stream that we ever do for sure.
No.
It's just it has to take a break for a while so that we can adjust to some other things. But yeah, I did want to address that. And also, our books are coming along great, you guys. I'm really excited. So, if you guys are one of my beta readers, I'm sending it out on Monday. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've like sent out emails and I'm like, okay, it's coming to you. Are you good? And they're like, yes, we're ready. So I'm sending that out. And I have been going through edits and I've been reading Amanda's book. And oh my God, y'all are going to love her book so freaking much.
Oh, girl.
And it's going to be fantastic. And I'm so excited for both of us. Y'all have no idea. Like we finished writing, but we're still working.
Yeah, our books are going to be. So I've been beta reading Chelsea's book as well. I have been having a hard time reading anything else because I'm so engrossed in the story. That's how good, like, you're just like, I cannot put this down. I need to know what happens. Um, so that's that. And then in terms of my book, yes, I've been getting a lot of, my beta readers are already reading it. There are a lot of comments. Going in, I knew I was going to have to make changes, but I'm having such a hard time not reading the beta comments. Like I see the emails pop up in my inbox, and I'm just like,
Oh, you're good because I've been reading mine.
I no, I have been reading them. Is what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Like I don't always win the battle of telling myself don't read the comments. But like that Elmo gif of him in the fire, that is me with these comments where I'm just in the fire because I want to read the comments, but then it's like I don't want it to harm my self-esteem because I know I have so much work to do with the rewrite.
And see, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I want to know because as I'm doing the edits, I'm trying to keep in mind the places where it's just like, okay, Amanda left a comment here. Maybe I need to like make this a little bit clearer or go back and like reword this so that I'm like, okay, I took the 2 weeks that I took off. I was just like stealing myself. Like, okay, there's gonna be work. We're gonna have to go back into it. You knew this when you finished it, so we're gonna hit the ground running. So that's where I'm at. I'm just like, thank you for leaving feedback because while you're over here, it's like, oh okay, and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and fix that.
But some of my feedback is me typing iconic. I love this line. This is good for, good quote for like merch or whatever. So not all of my comments are, because I like to have fun when I'm beta reading. I don't talk about the things that need work. If I like something, I'm gonna be like yes or fuck that hoe. Like I'm gonna leave good. It's gonna be like I'm sitting in the theater with popcorn. Like you're gonna know how I feel.
I appreciate it because it keeps me going. It keeps me going. So I am excited. I need to do more of that because I'd be over here and be like, okay. So I can't talk about it on stream because obviously your books aren't released yet. So I'll tell you once we get off stream. So I be thinking that. I be thinking, good Lord.
Keep it going. Just keep going.
You know how like you stumble over words and you're just like, I really said that, and then you lose your whole train of thought.
Right.
Yep. That's what just happened.
Resets your brain.
Yep. But no, I'll talk to you about it when we get off stream though. I'm just y'all are going to love In the House of Transcendence, and I am so excited for it. And like I said, I'm excited for everything, you guys. I'm going through these edits and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it because I usually use Word, but I'm sending out Google Docs to my beta readers. And so I'm like, maybe I should go ahead and start using the Google Doc. But I really hate using Google Docs because it's just the formatting. It ain't it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just too difficult. And then Every time I want to right click, they're like, "Oh, do you want to download the extension?" No, no, I don't. I just want you to, you know what I'm trying to do. Just paste. But anyway, I just,
Not you having a war with a fucking word processor.
I, it just makes me unhappy on some fundamental level sometimes.
Over here cursing it, a pox on your house and shit.
I'm just kind of like, I could really just send y'all the Word document and that would be fine. But also, my need to know what you're saying is compelling me to send a Google Doc so that every time you leave a comment, I get an email. So there's also that.
See, I see you now. You already. You just told on yourself.
I need to know. I know who I am. I accept it. I accept it. I'm looking forward to it. So, but I will say this: I have not opened the document since you started reading it. I have only been glancing at the emails and stuff. So, I
Same. Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to open it. I don't need to see it. So any of the formatting stuff you've been doing, I have no. First of all, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened when I moved it over from Word to Google Docs. It just like,
Oh, it's cool. It messes up the chapter when the where the chapters start. You're good.
yeah.
Though it's the same for me because I've only been looking at the email, but I think two, maybe three of the beta readers that I have already finished. I know one finished
Mm-hmm.
pretty quickly. Uh, and so there are a lot of sections where a lot of beta readers are pointing out the same thing. So they're kind of just commenting, like, I agree, co-sign with this
Mm-hmm.
point. So I'm just like, well, damn, I guess I really do have to fix this if everybody's in agreement.
Okay, so if you don't want me to do that, I won't, because I was
No,
definitely
no, no.
one of them.
You're good. That's no, it's helpful because again, there are things I knew, but again, every a rough draft is supposed to not be good. Like for those of you who haven't released anything or not at the beta reader stage, we don't want to scare you. It is so fun to have other people read your work, and it's super helpful to have people comment and help you make your book better.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a little nerve wracking because obviously you want people to like your book, you want them to like your work, especially the early readers, and especially the first draft. Because on one hand, we're told make your first draft crappy, but then we're also told you need to have people read the first draft, or at least like one of your first drafts
Yeah.
to beta read it to then make it better.
And also, let's be real here. We're all like secretly perfectionists, so we would just love for everyone to come back and be like, "Oh my god, I have nothing to tell you. Your book is just perfect. There's no more
Right.
work to be done." That would be lovely. And also, I guess it's one of those things that's kind of like you know you have work to do, but then you don't really know how much until somebody else tells you. It's kind of like when you're new on a job and you're waiting for your supervisor to like send you feedback about whether or not, like, you think you did the thing you did, you crossed all the crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, double checked it 3 times, measured twice, cut once. You did everything that you were supposed to do. You did it to the best of your ability. And you just know your supervisor is going to come back and be like, you know what? I can see where you put in effort, but I'm going to need you to do something a little bit different this time. So, and you're just like, all right, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You're pointing out valid things. I'll fix it, you know? But maybe that wasn't the greatest analogy because I haven't worked for anyone else in a long time. And when my supervisor said redo something, i.e. my principal, I just said no. So probably not the best person, but I also have issues with authority. So that's just who I am. They just said the last time I beta read, the author was looking at my comments as I read and responding, and it threw me off. That was the first time that happened to me while beta reading. Yeah, I would never think of actually responding to the people who are beta reading unless it was like a direct question. Like,
Right.
how do, like, please respond. Do you, what does this mean? How, like, unless it was a direct question, I would never respond to a beta reader until they are done. I don't know why I cannot talk today, you guys. I don't know who I am, where I am from, what I'm trying to say, what dialect I need.
I got you. You would never. Yeah. No. I agree. I think I only responded once, and it was a question in this document. But it is weird when authors do insert themselves into that process because I've beta read for somebody who was um, commenting and responding to comments and also marking things resolved, which for me, as I'm going through, like part of how I know that I've already read a section is by seeing my comments. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're marking my comments resolved, I don't know that I've gone, like I can't remember that I've gone through that. So it just, you know, I guess it's like an etiquette thing
Yeah, and I
beta
think it's
reading.
also because you're asking people to give an opinion on your art. Like, it's kind of like when you have a competition of any sort. Like, you're not the contestants are not sitting there with the judges while they're deliberating on something. That's weird. Like, no, just come back when it's done. And process at your own space, because it's just also like, I don't know. I feel like it's nerve wracking to be like, okay, someone's monitoring how fast I read, what I'm commenting on, when I stop, how many days are in between me starting and stopping again. Like, nah, don't do that, bro. Don't stalk me. Don't stalk me. I'll get it. If I
Hmm.
said I was gonna get it done, I'm gonna get it done. But yeah, but I think something that I'm going to do for my beta readers, and this is just how the way that my brain works. I think I'm going to send different documents to people, so that when they comment, it's their only their comments in there, because the way you did it scares me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm reading
What?
it. You have everybody together, and I'm like, that scares me. I don't think I would be able to handle it.
Oh, having it, people have an individual version of the document.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah, I mean,
your document is literally just yours. That's why your name is at the top. You are the only person who has access to it.
yeah, I I got too much shit to do in my life to be giving everybody individual. Like I get part of it is, the people don't want their views tainted by, potentially reading other people's comments. But I also, this is just the way that I've done it before and it has worked. And so I just keep
Okay.
I just keep doing it that way because I also don't want like a flood of all these other. I get overwhelmed very easily. I'm short, and my tolerance for overwhelm is also short too. So
I'm dead, Amanda.
I don't have time for it.
She said, I'm
I'm
short,
4'11", and that's where
therefore
my
I
tolerance.
cannot tolerate things. I can't. Okay, I don't follow that logic because I'm like 5'8", 5'9", and my tolerance is not higher than that. I'm sorry. But no, I mean, it makes sense. It's just, I know for me, the way my brain works, I would be like, so it would just be so nerve wracking for me, and I'd be like, nah, I'm ready. So, and also for me, I sent out that form that I showed you. So everybody
Mm.
has different like days that they wanted me to follow up with them. So I wanted different documents so that I could know, like, okay, it's time to follow up with this person or whatever. So I have a method to the madness, but also unlike you, I haven't really done this before because I didn't have beta readers for Keeping Promise. So this is my first time really trying to get other people to read my book before it releases
Mm.
that aren't people that I know directly, who can just like text me their thoughts and opinions or whatever. So I'm gonna try to figure out a system that works, and hopefully it works out for the best. But we will see. We will see. I am but I also want them to be separate because it's such a weird thing, but I've noticed like when I've been doing book reviews, like when I watch other people's book reviews, if they mention the same thing, it's just kind of like I know, okay, that's probably actually in the book and not just someone's
Right.
personal preference. So I'm hoping that by sending out different documents, I'll figure out if something is actually unclear or if it's just someone's personal preference, or like what actually needs to change. Because I'm like, if 2 or 3 or 4 people are pointing out the same thing, it's actually probably a problem. But if it's just
Right.
like a one-off thing, it's just like I can take that with a grain of salt and then like choose from there. But we'll see. I'm nervous. I'm nervous, Amanda. I've never done this before, and I'm really excited, but I'm like panicking on the inside as well. So we'll see.
I mean, I think so. This is my third time, technically fourth, because I had my short story beta read as well. So this is my fourth time having my work beta read. Um, it doesn't. I don't think it gets easier. I think you get used to. the nerves. I think because every project is different, there's always going to be some kind of, are they going to like it, or are they going to hate it,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Um, and I think as long as you keep in mind that people, this is to help make your book the best version that it can be, and that if you didn't have beta readers, your readers would be the ones catching these things.
Yeah.
The people who've already spent coin, or who have already checked your book out from the library or whatever. So time or money to get your book. And so it's better to have the first line people read your work. And it's also helpful to have a mix of people that you know and don't know,
Mm-hmm.
because then you can directly talk to the people that you know and be like, am I shit? Objectively, am
Like,
I shit for this work? Because you're leaving all these comments, and it's a lot of work for me. And usually they'll be like, no, it needs work. It's good, just it needs to be like fleshed out and ironed out more. You're not shit.
yeah. And that's how I am trying to look at it. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Because Dave's just here, like, don't be nervous. It'll be great. And I'm like, I'm trying to tell myself that honestly and truly. Because it's not that I think that I'm a bad writer or anything. It's just, like I said, I've never done this before. And I'm just really paranoid because I'm like, oh, what if they don't like it? What am I going to do? So it's just kind of like, how like you go into that, like, negative spiral. I'm trying to actively avoid that. So that's where I'm at. But Monday will come around. I'm gonna send it out, and it's gonna be out of my hands. It's gonna be above me then.
Right.
I'm just gonna be waiting for that.
I mean, so I've kind of been in a weird negative spiral because, like I told you, I'm going back to work for the man on Tuesday, and I'm in the middle. I'm like, happy-ish about it, but also wish I could be doing creative work full time. So I'm in that mode of wanting to do so much and get all the stuff done that I'm having a hard time prioritizing things in my brain. So I'm kind of uh, standing at the edge of that negative cycle, looking in, just doing this thing like it's a well of water. Like, is that where I'm going to be going? Because I'm just trying to get to be chill. Sometimes I have no chill.
Join the club. We have cookies on Fridays. Um,
Ooh, cookies.
that'd be nice. I don't know why I did that to myself, but yeah, no, like I 100% get it, honestly and truly, because it's rough out here. It's just like trying to prioritize things, trying to get things straight, and trying to like stay positive while also being like, please judge me. Here's my soul on paper. I have 327 pages of my soul. Please tear it apart. It's just like, yeah. But
Right. Do we have any more comments on this?
yes. um, let's see here. Portia said, that is why I don't do Google Docs for my betas. I would be too tempted to read and respond. I give them a PDF and a list of questions. I don't want to come off as a lurker for my own draft. I'm a lurker. Please know that I'm going to lurk. That is who I am. If that makes you uncomfortable, I'm so sorry. I will do my best not to. But I like to know. I like to know. I'm also one of those people who does not take care of my mental health. I read the reviews for my book as well. So I'm terrible at taking care of my mental health. I just need to know. Because I'm the type of person where if you're going to talk about me, please talk about me to my face. That way I can at least arm myself before I go into an argument with you. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that, Amanda. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to gloss over it into the rest of these comments. Deja said, I think I would do individual documents for the beta readers. I haven't beta read in a group document before. It's not bad. I don't hate it. It was just one of those things where I know for me, being on the other side of it, I would want to send people individual documents because of the type of feedback that I'm looking for. So that's just a personal thing. But I think it works well either way, because when you're in a group document, you can see where other people, and it kind of does draw your attention. So you can offer your 2 cents on it, whether you agree or disagree. And it also does help. So like if you've seen that somebody else has commented on something, you don't necessarily feel compelled to leave a comment on it because they already have. So
Right.
that's just one of those things. Let's see here. For my CP, I definitely like to do Google Docs to have inline comments. I usually write in Google Docs too, so it doesn't bother me. I use Word, and Benjamin is what I call my PFP, my primary feedback provider. And so he leaves comments in Word that are like inline that I use when I'm actually writing and doing like beginning edits. But other than that, I really dislike Google Docs. I don't like it, you guys. I hate it, honestly.
Uh, it, it's okay. Mine keeps crashing, like when I have bigger documents, so I
That's why I don't
do
like
have
it.
to figure
And
that out eventually. But
also, they don't like in Word. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but you know, like how in Google they'll have what they call an outline, so you can format it so you can jump to different chapters, and it does it for you automatically. Well, that's also a feature in Word. But what Word does is like if you need to change a chapter, so if you want chapter 13 to suddenly be chapter 11, you can just click and drag it up to that specific place and it'll rearrange your entire document for you without you having to copy and paste and cut and reformat and do all of that, which is why part of the reason why I prefer Word, because I was trying to do that in the Google Doc today, Google was not having it. They were like, "We don't do that. Don't know what you're trying to do. Please stop. Don't like it." And it doesn't do well with longer documents, and it doesn't have all the fonts that I like because I like it to look nice and neat, and it just I use it when I have to because I do like the collaborative piece of it, but other than that, nah, bruh. If I can send you a Word document, I'm gonna send you a Word document, a PDF, what have you. But
well, can't you send word vomit? I know that there's OneDrive, which is kind of like Word's answer to Google Drive, where you
actually, it's the
can.
opposite. But yes. Oh, Microsoft OneDrive came before Google Drive.
There you go. Okay,
Yeah.
I felt like that white lady doing that. uh, yeah. Okay. So, but what I'm saying is like, so if you, because I do have OneDrive, so in future, if you want to send a Word document, can you send it and then I can
Yeah.
access it in OneDrive?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a lot
Because
easier.
I was thinking of just switching once I get these feedback, switching it all over to OneDrive and just doing all my stuff there. Because I like having it online in cloud kind of vibe.
Oh yeah.
Because Google Docs is disappointing me, and I think I'm going to move over to OneDrive.
Oh yeah. I can show you how to do it because, like I said, that's what me and Ben do. Because you just, I think a lot of people don't like it because you have to have a Microsoft account, but they're like, "Oh, that's why I prefer Google Docs." It's like, no, Google requires you to also have an account with them. It's just that a lot of people already have a Gmail account, so they don't think about it. But it's just like you can just sign up for another email. Like I have like legitimately probably like 10 or 15 emails because I've been creating them since I was like 10, and they're free and they never expire. So it's just kind of like it really does not hurt you to just make up an email and just be like, okay, just you could literally call it beta reading at outlook.com. Boom, there you go. It's literally just your beta reading account. But I digress. That's probably taken. Whatever. Anyway. um,
Beta underscore reading.
under underscore double RRRREEEADING. There you go. um, they just said, also speaking of CPs, how many do you think we should have? I have one, but I want more. Three of the ones I did have ghosted me. Oh, I hate that for
Oh
you.
no.
Um, do you want to answer first? Because I have a kind of a long-winded answer.
Yeah, I think maybe 7 to 10 feels right. Well, five. I'll say 5 to 10. That's a bit of a margin, just because I think it's important to have a mix of both writers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you hope that the writers you have are also readers. I know really don't read, which is weird to me, but that's a different conversation. And I think it's important that most, if not all, or some, whatever, some mix of them are in your target age range.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you are writing young adult, I think it's important to try to find, you got a niece, you got a play cousin, you got a something or whatever, who's in that age range that can read it. Because especially if you're writing like a contemporary thing, which would hopefully have some kind of contemporary slang or cultural aesthetic that they could kind of help make sure that you're not coming off very like hello fellow children, but it's authentic. um and then of course, if you are writing about culture, or you're writing about, maybe you're straight, you're writing queer characters, or you're writing disabled characters, whatever, that you have somebody that is from that other community also reading your work to provide insight. And that to me is different than a sensitivity reader, which I think is somebody you specifically hire. But like when
Mm-hmm.
you're beta reading, I think you would just see if you can find somebody of that community. Or, if it's like you're writing about a doctor and you're not a doctor, having
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody that's a doctor. Anyway, that's it. You're sorry. 5 to 10, get a mix. They should be writers and readers, and in your target audience, at least a couple of them. And if you're writing about a culture or business or religion or whatever that's different than your own, try to get somebody from that to also read.
Yeah.
That's it.
Um, my answer, first of all, I agree with everything that Amanda said. As far as how many, like you, I have been ghosted before, and not necessarily ghosted, but like people who say, "Oh yeah, let's CP for each other," and then I read their stuff and they never get back with me. So it's just kind of like that's super frustrating. Like I know your frustration firsthand. I would say a CP is different from a beta reader in the way that you think about it. So for me, a critique partner means that I highly value your opinion and I'm actively asking you to critique this. I'm not asking you to like make me feel good about it. I'm not asking you to like prop me up. I'm not asking you to stroke my ego. I'm asking you, literally asking you to tear this apart because I respect you as a writer. And for me, CPs are always writer plus Ben because Ben is plus everything for me, right? But always, always, always writers. And if they can't be writers, because like Amanda said, not all writers are readers, and you can't do anything about that. And sometimes the writers that you want to work with don't have time because that's also a real thing. Not everybody does this full time, or not everybody wants to read your book. I would say people who read diversely and who read critically. And by that, I mean like you would want someone who reads, but also if they're doing reviews, they can tell you why they didn't like something. They can actually break it down so that when you are trying to get feedback from them, they can help you even if they're not a writer. They might not have the solution, but they can tell you like, "Oh, I didn't like this because I didn't feel like it matched the character." You don't want someone who's just going to be like, "I didn't like this because it felt off." That does not help you, you know? So I would say, as far as critique partners, I would say 3 critique partners because not necessarily all 3 of them are going to be able to read your work at the same time, but 3 people whose opinions you really value. And then as far as beta readers, I would say somewhere between 5 to 7 or 7 and 10, depending on how many you want. Um, I would go with 5 to 7 if you have a more generic type story. And by generic, I'm not trying to be offensive. I literally mean if you have a story where it's just like if you're like writing a contemporary romance and there are tropes and there's like a certain formula and there are certain things that have to happen in the book because of the type of book that it is, I would say you would need less beta readers for that because you already know that there's to a certain extent, a formula that has to be in place. And there are only so many things that you can change necessarily. Whereas if you have like a fantasy, or if you have a speculative fiction of any type or anything like that, I would say 7 to 10 because you're going to want more people and you're going to want a variety of people. So definitely people within your target range. So like if you're writing, like we're writing a new adult, so you're going to want people in somewhere between that 18 to 30 range, right? So people like that, but also get a diverse. So like for me, my target demographic, if someone is ever, y'all ever do the example where it's just like your ideal reader walks into a bookstore, what do they look like? For me, my book is written for that young 21, 22, straight out of college, enjoyed reading in high school, but has not but just didn't read a whole lot in college. She's in there by herself, just exploring. She goes to the young adult section and she's like, and that's not really for me. But the adult section is not really where it's at either. Looking for something in that sweet spot that's still fantasy and fun, but is more mature than what you usually get in young adult. And she's gonna be black, rocking a fro. That's who my ideal reader is going to be, right? So keeping that in mind, that's who I want to ask to be my beta reader. So a lot of my beta readers are they're African American women in their early 20s or mid 20s. But I also have people outside of that, outside of being black, outside of being women, outside of being in that 18 to 30 range. And that's just to get that full diversity. So, because you want to write for your target reader, but you also want to write for an audience at large to a certain extent. But that's my
Right.
opinion. That's my take on it. Like I said, I've never done this before. So, to be completely transparent, I asked Amanda and about 3 or 4 other people that I know personally whose writing I actually personally really love and whose opinion I respect. I forced Ben to read it because I live with him, and then I made a sign up sheet, and basically I just accepted anybody who signed up to be a beta reader who responded to me. I did do a little bit of research on them, like, okay, what their social medias look like. Do they actually read, or are they just like a random who found this and filled it out, you know? But yeah, that was my process. So how you find them, good luck. But CPs, I would definitely say you should limit that to people that you actually know and
Right.
trust, and who will be honest with you, who will you trust to contact you independently and not like trash your work on the internet.
Right. I think in terms of finding beta readers, as I hate to say it, social media is kind of is good for that. But I do think you also need to vet on your end. If just because somebody says yes, I'll they should book. Um, I actually met. So I do on my channel Lit Bitches. It's like a bi-monthly author panel, and I actually met the ladies I do that with, Katrina and Kyla, through a Facebook group, writing group, asking for beta readers.
Mm-hmm.
We all three kind of at the same time were asking for beta readers, and that's how we all met. And so now, obviously, we're friends. We beta read for each other, and that's how I met some of my beta readers. Some of the other readers, I think I met. I got one or two from TikTok because I posted about it on TikTok. I got one or two from Instagram because I posted about it on Instagram as well. And it is a range of people. And because my characters are queer, I wanted to make sure that I had um, a few queer people reading it as well. Um, couldn't find somebody that does burlesque, but if you know anybody, I will extend my deadline to have somebody, because I want to make sure that it's like legit. I don't want to be writing. They're like, well, that's actually not what
Yeah,
it is, you know.
I got you. I don't know anybody who does burlesque, so I cannot help you. But if I come across someone, which I won't, I will let you know. But they just said not to throw shade. But those CPs were white as well, and one was biracial. Yeah, not going to throw shade, but I will say that there is a certain level of having to vet people, because I've had it happen to me across race, honestly. And it really just depends on the person. So, like I said, to be completely transparent, Amanda is the first author that I've really talked to who, when I was like, hey, would you mind being like a CP partner and like we can switch work on a certain day or whatever, she was the first person to actually say yes and then follow through with it. And I had asked people before, but it's like life happens, books don't get finished, or people decide that they don't want your opinion, or they connect with other people and decide to work with them, and then they don't tell you. Whatever the situation is, you know it's just that's how it turns out sometimes. And I think finding a CP, that's why I say I feel like that has to be someone that you have a relationship with, who is going to read your work even if it is bad, because that's kind of the purpose of having a critique partner. It's like if it is bad, they're supposed to tell you so that you can make it better. Whereas a beta reader, I feel like, is a step below that, where they're not obligated to finish the book. They may not finish the book, but with a beta reader, if they don't finish the book, I still do expect you to tell me why. But I'm not expecting you to like push through. Whereas anything beyond that, it's just like it's a luck of the draw of who you get, you know. So that would be my 2 cents on it. CPs are hard for sure, and then also finding someone
Right.
who writes in your genre. So for me, I write fantasy. She also writes fantasy, so it's a lot easier for us to exchange because we're reading in a genre that we already like. But if you're
Yeah, reading and writing and fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you are trying to write like a space opera, and I would say be specific because oh, Marquetta Whitman is here. Hello, welcome. I don't know why you speak like that. Hi, how you doing? Glad you can make it with us. Hang out with us. Um, but yeah, with fantasy, also know what kind of fantasy you're writing because some people like I'm writing a high fantasy. I made up everything. Some people don't like that. Some people prefer urban fantasy, and that's okay. But knowing what someone does and does not read also helps when finding a CP because it's like if you're writing a high fantasy and they only read space operas, that may not work if it's not based in space. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Or if
Right.
I'm rambling. Let me stop.
No, no, no. I mean, yeah, it's important. Again, I think that's part of the vetting process. It's important to understand what the people who are willing to read your book, what they typically read. And especially, I would say that's even more important if you are specifically looking for targeted feedback. So, as an example, part of my book is contemporary dark fantasy, but there's also a mystery element of the book. And so I didn't want to have people who also don't also dabble in mystery thriller read this book. Like if these the person who wanted to read this book only read romance and that was it wouldn't be my ideal reader because they're not going to be able to tell me, okay, this fits kind of the convention for mystery, or this is kind of aligning with fantasy kind of conventions or whatever, and wouldn't be able to kind of tell me and read critically, as Chelsea said, the mystery aspect of it, which was a big part of when I sent an email to my beta readers was this is a there's a mystery. I want to make sure it's not clockable within the first chapter. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want people to be able to go, okay, this is a mystery. I'm in this mystery. Who done it? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can eyeball it in the first chapter, like where's the tension, girl? So it's
Right.
there's layers to it. It does take some work up front, but ultimately, if you do find the right beta reader, the pro is that hopefully it's a good experience for everybody, and then they'll want to keep reading your work, and you'll want to keep having them read your work because they gave you good feedback. Some of my beta readers have been beta readers since my first book,
Mm-hmm.
and as you grow and go along, you can add more people who are more interested in your work and continue to beta read for you.
Yeah. So it's really the luck of the luck of the draw of who you come across, who you're able to befriend, who has time, who is willing to, who reads in the genre. There are a lot of variables that need to line up, but when they do, hopefully the idea is that you only have to do it once or twice, and then you have people that you can go to. You know, that's the thing. Um, but yes, Marquetta Whitman is here. She said, very understanding. Thank you. We try to be. Benjamin is here. Hi, Ben. Um, also, Portia said, I tried having a CP once, but they commented more than once. They loved a scene or lines of dialogue so much they wanted to recreate it in their own book. Bruh. Nah, bruh. What? That's so scummy. Ew. No. How can you be like, I love your work so much, I want to plagiarize it? What? What? That's
Mm-hmm.
insane. That's insane. Oh my god. I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine. Well, that's why you copyright your work before you send it out. There you go. um Marquetta said, and this is good info. I'm writing about the life of early World War II of freedmen and free citizens.
Hmm.
Whew, that that sounds heavy because history frightened me so much. It's just like and when historical fiction or even like historical retellings are so in my mind are so difficult because I didn't like history in high school in school period. So the amount of research that would have to go into it to do it well frightens me. But I respect anybody who can do it. So good luck. I'm sending you all the
Yes,
positive vibes, wishing you all the success.
absolutely.
And yeah, yeah. Portia said, I want a CP for Medusa so bad, but I do not want that experience again. I feel that. I feel that. Well, you know you're in the Discord. You can just ask, see if anyone is available, or even ask anyone who you have in mind and see what they say. Because I've learned like a really big part of this journey behind the scenes for me is just asking people. Because if I hadn't asked Amanda, we wouldn't have done this because she's lucky she already has CPs and betas, but I didn't. So if I didn't ask her, I would still be out here like I'm not sure. And then there are other people who have agreed to read it for me, and it's just like if I hadn't asked them, they would have never had the chance to say yes. I'll say that.
Right.
Like a lot of times people are like, oh, well, all they can say is no. But on the flip side of that, if you don't ask, they never have the chance to say yes because some people might and probably would. So I would say keep that in mind as well. But also do take no for an answer. Do not stalk anyone. I do, yeah. Even if you like them and respect them, if they say no, accept that.
Hmm.
Um, they just said maybe you'll find someone with beta reading. That's true. Also, let's just open it up. If anybody would, Portia, drop a description of Medusa, and if anybody here would like to beta read or CP, let us know. I mean, just gotta drop it out there. They just said I got my CP because she asked me how I found my other CP, and then I offered to be her CP. Yeah, and that happens a lot too. I know for me personally, I can't commit to anything else because after this book and reading Amanda's book, I'm doing a lot with the Melanin Library, and that's going to consume all of my time. I've talked to Amanda about it and I've tweeted about it a couple times, but I'll say this on here. I am working to convert it into an actual store for indie authors. So once this book is out and in the hands of anybody who wants an arc, woo, buddy, I am going to be trying to start a business, another business. Good lord, I don't
Right.
know how to be happy. I don't know how to bring joy to my life. I like to be overworked apparently. Um
E-
but I'm excited though because what is a black owned bookstore for black indie authors? Who doesn't want that?
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you just have to find the right people. It'll be great when you do. And they can even become some of your really good author friends, especially if they're also authors. And then you could read their book, kind of form really good relationships that way. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm reading your book. I'm reading. Excuse me. I'm reading two epic fantasies right now. Yours and then somebody else's that I found on
Ooh.
Twitter. And it, again, expanding my author connections as well. I think that's another great thing about like you volunteering to be people's critique partners and beta readers is that you can forge other connections with other authors who maybe you might not have met
Mm-hmm.
and befriended and whatever, and then you get to read about other people's experiences, perspectives as well. And so I think that that's really great. And if you have the time to devote, I think you should whatever. But beyond all that, I'm actually, oh, I didn't tell you, Chelsea. So, one of the things I wanted to do in the coming weeks is to try to work on doing research and maybe seeing about pitching to Sarah with Love to like some kind of agent to maybe do movie stuff. And I also thought that in addition to that, I would try to like a screenplay on my own to just to try it. I thought it could help with me, trying to work on the third book to get back into that world by like writing it, maybe in a different format. But yeah, I just we did Virtuous Con. We watched. There was a panel right after ours that had Prentice Penny and Tananarive Due and Stephen Barnes and like all people that have had that are either like in showbiz, showrunners, or actors, or have had their work optioned
Mm-hmm.
before, and talking about how to do it, how to go about it. And one of the things Tananarive said was like make the industry catch up to you, because she said look at Issa Rae and how kind of her journey went.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you know, we all are talking about winning a seat at the table. Sometimes you got to create a table,
Yep.
and then you invite people to your table. And so, you know, I thought, well, why not try both? Why not try pitching it as a book and then pitching it also as a screenplay and kind of seeing how. So I'm going to be working on that in addition to rewrites for this book when they come out, and then all short story, and then I always have. So.
That's exciting. That's so exciting. I have definitely thought about it a lot of times about just wanting, because y'all know I want my book animated. I don't necessarily want to see it with real life people. I want to see it animated, and I've
So good. I'm reading it as if it was an anime in my head, and like
yay! That's what I
the
wanted.
Asari scene with Sarah.
Ah! You got to that point. See, look, I haven't been reading the comments, so I didn't know where you were at. And okay, look.
Oh, that I was just reading it as it was an anime, and I was just like, so yes, yes. Sorry, I cut you
Yes.
off, but yes.
No, that makes my heart happy because I'm oh my god, that makes my heart so happy. You have no idea. No idea. So, I one of the things that I want to do is I want to figure out how to do that, because the thing about animation, and not to be like too nerdy, there's like Western animation, which is like American animation, and then there's Japanese animation. And I watch a lot of Japanese animation because in America, a lot of times animation is for children, and you have to go through like Disney, Pixar, or like what's the other one? Like Fox, maybe, because and Fox is the
Mm.
only one who makes animation for adults, and by adults I mean like Family Guy and South Park and like stuff like that. And my book doesn't fall into that. I like what I want is I want to be able to do something with like Avatar The Last Airbender style, but again, it would be for adults. But it's fantasy for adults, which is kind of a hard sell unless you already have the skills to draw and animate it and force your way into that world on your own. So I am kind of in this space where I'm like, I know what I want to see, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to go about it yet. But
Right.
I'm kind of like you. Like I really want to get to a space where it's just like I just want to pitch it. I want to put it out there because I think it would look really good animated. I could be biased, but I think it would be a really fun animation or like a movie. I would totally be fine if it's not even a series. If it's just like a movie, I'm totally cool with that.
Well, so like, let's speaking manifested, speaking into this existence and stuff. If when becomes anime,
Okay.
who would you want to voice Brandy? Do you have anybody in mind?
Um, honestly, I would love to have Cree Summers because she's so freaking iconic. I would love that.
Fuck yes.
Or I would even
Fuck
have
yes.
like Danny Chambers because she was on Virtuous Con and I was
Mm.
listening to her and I did not realize how many like all of her characters I have loved in the dubbed version of the animes that I have watched, because y'all know I watch a crap ton of anime. And I did not realize that she was the one behind it. And so now I'm like, oh my god, I would love it if she would do one of the characters. Either if I could have both of them, what? I would die. I would die. But yeah, definitely them because I with Pine, I like Pine has a very specific voice in my head.
I I love her little like term of endearment for Brandy. Love it.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So yeah, yeah.
So
I
far, Pine is my favorite so far.
okay. I'm glad. Okay, because Ben's favorite is he has multiple favorites, but if I remember this correctly, and if he's still listening, he can correct me. But his favorite is someone you haven't met yet, and Noble.
Noble was cool too.
Yeah. So I just, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys, when you read the book, if you get a chance to read it, that you enjoy it. So, um, Portia, her description is Medusa, a young priestess and medicine woman in the land of Juro, only wants to help people, worship the gods, and raise the teen she took in after fever took her parents. What she doesn't realize is she is caught in the middle of not one, but two lust triangles. When she is betrayed by the crown and gods she devoted her life to, she gains powers that make her more than a demigod, but not quite a god. The elder gods and men of the lands within the Mother Universe launch an all out war to find and destroy her and her adopted daughter. Betraying Medusa was their first mistake. Underestimating her underestimating her will be their last. So yeah, that sounds really, really good.
Yes.
Um
I
but
love that.
but they just said a fantasy romance what would want in a CP. So yeah, Deja, Portia, y'all should link up. Deja, if you want, I can send you a link to our Discord server and you guys can link up through there. If that's what you would like, just let me know. But yeah, and Ben said the other person starts with an R. So yeah. Also, I think I sent you a message, but I'll ask and we'll talk if you have time. We can talk about this once we get off stream. But
Yeah.
there are so many questions that I kind of want to ask you, but as I'm going through edits, Portia said I literally just made that up. It's good, homie. You better copy and paste it before this chat is over and like keep
Right.
that.
That is your blurb right
That
there.
is your
'Cause
blurb. You just
I was listening to the whole thing like, okay, yes, yes, yeah, okay,
yeah.
yes. So good, Portia. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, if I have more time, and depending on when you need a CP, I might be able to do it for you. I just know that if you need one before like May or June, I'm not going to be able to because I'm going to be super busy. But if you need one after that, baby doll, I got you. Just let me know. Just let me know. But yeah, do you have the blurb for your book? I have the blurb for my book, so we're going to to do that. I'm not going to close out of I'm not going to close out of the chat just yet. But yeah, we're going to give you guys the blurbs for our books in case you want to check them out.
Let me pull it up. I'm not. You do yours because I gotta pull mine up.
Look, homie, I gotta pull mine up too. Hold up. Oh, also, if you guys have not visited the website, I did redo the Written in Melanin website, so it looks better now. Just so you know. But yeah, okay, I'll go first since I have it pulled up here. My book, We Are the Origin, if you guys are interested, just a quick rundown. It is a book, it's a high fantasy book about a group of assassins who have to save the gods in their realm from destruction. Things you need to know about it. It's new adult, so all the characters are 21 and up. High fantasy, has original myths and lore. Predominantly black cast, and by predominantly I mean like there's like one main character who's not black, so take that as you will. There is murder on the page, so if that's not your thing, keep that in mind. But it has a spice level of bacon, no sex. So that being said, the blurb for my book is: she was a shadow, forced into a life of serving the queendom before she was old enough to deny them. Brandy was a cultivator of death and the queen's own blade, reserved only for the disloyal and the blasphemous. Crafted by the queendom and forged in blood, she was nothing more than a tool. She was never meant to have an opinion on whose blood she shed, never meant to question whose back she was pressed into or whose throat she was slipped across. She was destruction. But when Freya, the goddess of life and judger of souls, demands that she protect rather than destroy, Brandy has no choice but to obey her new orders. And while abandoning the queendom comes with its own set of problems, being hunted by the people she once called family is the least of her worries when the gods reveal to her an enemy who exists beyond the reach of their power. So, with a helpless princess in tow, she begins her search for a way to fight this impossible enemy and save the realm from destruction. Because she is the wrath of the gods, and it was foolish for anyone to forget that. And yes, my book is called We Are the Origin. So there's a link in the description box below, but I'll go ahead and put it on screen while Amanda reads hers for you.
Ooh, your blurb.
Did not mean to do that. Sorry.
Okay. So my book is In the House of Transcendence. It's also adult. It's fantasy. It all black cast, a predominantly queer cast. There is murder on page. There is, I would say, spice level, jalapeno spice
Okay.
level. Maybe jalapeno. Like there is some flirtation, sex a little bit, but it's not a lot. I guess. Sorry. But it's dark fantasy, which means that there's some horror elements to it. So if you don't like things that are spine tingling, you'll still be fine with this because it's not the whole book. There's, ghosts and shit. Okay. Zora McNair is a necromancer. Some say she's gifted, others say she's cursed, but always her abilities terrify her. Hoping to start a new life, Zora flees her childhood settled Savannah. She soon learns that some things can't be changed. Down on her luck and ready to give up, Zora meets Birdie, a beautiful and powerful witch who has everything for a roof over her head, a job dancing at Nightingale's club, and help controlling her powers. If only Zora can solve the murder of Birdie Marquita. Zora accepts Birdie's offer and is soon drawn into the community of Savannah, where rituals and magical fights are performed on the beach, potions can make people float on air or steal their voices, and 3 magical houses vie for dominance. As she tries to put the pieces together and solve Marquita's murder, Zora falls in love and gets caught in the sights of the very forces that ended Marquita's life. Can Zora rise up and learn to control her powers to solve Marquita's murder, or will her fears cause her to lose it all?
It's so good, you guys. Okay. Be on the lookout for it. You have a release date, right? In July.
Yes, I'm shooting for July 26th.
Awesome. And my book comes out June 21st. So, first day of summer, you can grab it. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm so excited for both of us. Also, Deja, great. You're one of my beta readers, so I already have your email address. I will send you a link to the Discord server, and Marquetta was like, her name is Marquetta. So, it's Marquita, right?
Marquita, yeah.
Yes. Is that how you say your name? I've been saying Marquetta. Do you say your name Marquetta or Marquita? I could have been saying it wrong this whole time. I'm so sorry if I have been. But yeah. But yeah. Portia, have you copied your blurb down? She said that's so far. I mean, yeah, but it's gonna be great when the books come out. It's gonna be fantastic.
I know. It's just around the corner because we're already on the other side of February, so.
Which is crazy. I feel
Right.
like, I don't know what it is about getting older, but I feel like the years go by faster. The latter. So it's Marquita. I've been saying it wrong. Sorry. Yes, her name is also Marquita.
Yes, Marquita.
Okay. Portia got her blurb. Deja, I'm going to send you an email, and there are links to, if you want to purchase my book, you can, okay, yeah, Marquita. If you want to purchase my book, there's a link to do that in the description box below. You can pre-order it from Amazon, or you can purchase it from my website, whichever one makes you happy. And when Amanda's book is available, I will make sure to come back and add a link so that you can pre-order The House of Transcendence once it is available. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to Amanda. She is only a few followers away from 100 subscribers, you guys. So
Yes,
we need to get her there. And like I said, this is our last stream for a while, so keep an eye out. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well so that when we come back, you are aware of when it happens. See how I did that? Also, tap the thumbs up button if you haven't already. Let the algorithm gods know that you like this content and not to just shadow ban it. So, that being said, that is it for this stream, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and until next time, we hope all your days are lovely and your book's interesting.